6 months of staying alert and prepared. Storms are named to help meteorologists, emergency officials, and the public communicate clearly and quickly during dangerous weather events. Hurricanes are also measured using the Saffir-Simpson Hurricane Wind Scale, which ranks storms from categories 1 through 5 based on wind speed and potential damage. And did you know, when a hurricane becomes especially deadly or destructive, its name is permanently retired out of respect for the lives and communities affected. Now is the time to prepare your emergency kit with a portable AM/FM radio. Review your family plans and stay connected to trusted weather information. Preparation today can save lives tomorrow. These are the names of the storms for the 2026 Atlantic hurricane season. Arthur, Bertha, Cristobal, Dolly, Edward, Faye, Gonzalo, Hannah, Isaias, Josephine, Kyle, Leah, Marco, Nana, Omar, Paulette, Renee, Sally, Teddy, Vicky, and Wilfred. This public service announcement was brought to you by the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas in conjunction with the Disaster Risk Management Authority.
Your number one team in the North. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
And that's going to do it for us here in the North. I'm Raven Davis.
And I'm Matthew Martin Burrow.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Here's a live look at the Bahamas tonight. They're coming your way next.
Tonight, reaction from BPL Workers Union about the Prime Minister's new overtime policy meant to stop decades-long of abuse at the company. The psychological impact of sexual violence, the long road ahead survivors of this trauma often face. We take a closer look. And food grown right here at home. A push to get more of it on store shelves and your kitchen table. Those stories and more this late night, Tuesday, August 18th, 2026. And it is good to have you with us this Tuesday evening. We start the broadcast tonight with Prime Minister Philip Davis demanding a major reset at Bahamas Power and Light as the government moves to transform the way the country generates, distributes, and pays for electricity. In a national address last night, Mr. Davis laid out a comprehensive energy reform plan while putting BPL's management, operations, and finances under the microscope. The utility company has come under intense scrutiny over frequent and prolonged power outages, customer complaints over billing, and now questions surrounding millions of dollars in overtime payments. The Prime Minister making it clear BPL must get its house in order. Last night, Prime Minister Davis recounted how BPL spent a jaw-dropping $25 million on overtime payouts. This despite the fact, he says, that under a previous signed deal, all transmission and distribution work is now the responsibility of the recent created Bahamas Grid Company. He then went even further.
In a single 12-month period, 3 employees in one department received more than $600,000 in overtime between them. One record shows an individual claiming 18 hours on Christmas Day, then 24 hours each of the next 3 days that followed, 90 hours across 4 consecutive days.
Mr. Davis not mincing words on the issue, making it clear in his national address, this is unacceptable.
This is about a system that permitted this type of abuse. A failure of management, of controls, of oversight going back many years and across administrations.
And he laid out immediate steps to remedy this so-called abuse.
A new overtime policy is in force. Planned overtime is capped. Any technical worker whose overtime exceeds 30% of base salary triggers a review by the division head and the executive management team, and is to be reported to the board. Repeat patterns are flagged. We will apply this consistently and fairly, and we have engaged the unions because their members deserve a properly run company as much as any customer does.
Well, this supposed controversy about exorbitant BPL overtime payments is all much ado about nothing, says Bahamas Electrical Workers Union President Kyle Wilson. Responding in part to the Prime Minister's remarks Monday night, Wilson today called this a distraction, a red herring, smoke and mirrors.
Saying there's an increase in overtime. Well, the staffing levels, when I became president back in 2020, was about 400 to about 500. Now we're up to like maybe 1,400. And so you're asking why the overtime doubled? Okay, over the course of the successionship with my leadership, I would have gotten better concessions for the membership in terms of salaries and benefits. So all of that would contribute. So why is there such a surprise now concerning overtime?
And as for the new policy the Prime Minister articulated last night, Wilson reminds that consultation with the union is required for such policies before such policies can be enforced.
And it is very, very aggravating because no one is sitting down with the unions. We have clauses in there, clause 18, to say that if we want to change a term and condition of the industrial agreement, you sit down with the union and we work it out. We've always been sitting down. We've always been working it out. We're always willing to come to the table.
Meantime, a union management employee at BPL has reportedly been suspended over allegations of gross misconduct. The 5-day suspension takes effect today. The move has left the Bahamas Electrical Utility Managerial Union up in arms and calling for an independent investigation. The union says it is concerned that no evidence has been presented to substantiate the allegation against the employee, and at no point has the company provided evidence demonstrating that the conduct of its member, performance or actions were unacceptable or contrary to the company. The union maintains that accountability regarding overtime cannot begin and end with frontline employees, but all levels of management involved in the decision-making process. The union is also condemning the leakage of employees' confidential information, calling for the identification of those involved in the action and for police protection and security for the affected staff members whose personal information was made public. Also here tonight, the opposition Free National Movement is weighing in on the latest wave of power outages at Bahamas Power and Light, outages that have disrupted thousands of consumers and are raising fresh concerns over the reliability of the country's electricity supply. For that story, we turn to our LaDawn Davis.
Frequent power outages amid scorching summer temperatures have caused frustration for thousands of BPL consumers, many of whom have been forced to endure prolonged periods without electricity. In wake of these blackouts, opposition leader Michael Pintard is criticizing the $8.45 rebate reflected on the July bill for some customers due to previous power interruptions.
There are people who are crying, screaming that they've lost computers, refrigerators, washing machines, all kinds of appliances, and there seemed to be no remedy. And then the government comes with a little over $8 as their solution to the problem.
A consumer himself, Pintard says for many Bahamians, access to a reliable power supply is not a luxury, but a necessity, particularly during periods of extreme heat when residents depend on electricity for cooling and other essential needs.
There are people who require the electricity to be on so that the machine that's keeping them alive can work. I mean, that's how serious it is. And so no minister has the right to walk away from questions or to disappear in the midst of a crisis in order to, again, enjoy themselves while the people that they serve are hurting.
The opposition leader feels a comprehensive approach is needed to address the persistent challenges with power generation and ensure the country can meet its growing energy demands. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm LaDawn Davis.
Well, ripples continue following calls by BPL to the local business sector to cut back on its energy consumption. But as our Lloyd Allen tells us in this report, that request has far-reaching implications to small and medium-sized businesses less able to navigate overhead increases.
It was back in early August that Bahamas Power and Light first introduced the idea to the local business community to reduce its reliance on the local power grid. Now, to date, those questions still remain on that decision, and helping us to explore the impact throughout the business community is Chairman of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation, Don Williams. Don, how widespread has this impact been?
It's been nationwide. We can't say that it's Nassau-centric. Businesses have been impacted throughout because while it's an infrastructural issue, it's being treated almost as if it's a natural disaster. You've been without power for 12 hours, 1 day, 2 days. Some have been out for quite some time and are still remain off. And as a result, you have businesses that have lost inventory, that have had to send staff home. So it is deeply impacted the business community, and while the business community has been trying its endeavor best from even before these infrastructural issues to work alongside the government of BPL, it is almost like a bottleneck at this point. We do respect the Prime Minister's address, taking certain levels of accountability, but we needed more. We needed to know when are the proper time frames of there will be solutions and fixes, and then while businesses are suffering in this time, what incentives can be provided to those businesses so that they can now feel a little bit of ease in terms of their frustrations.
And then finally, of course, during the Prime Minister's address last night, he noted a number of adjustments in the pipeline towards improving power supply. Do you think that will help in the long run?
We do think it will help, but like you said earlier, Lloyd, it's in the long run. Right now, we have a crisis, and we need to get a bit of a fix instantly to help us get through this crisis. When the long-term solutions are in place, then we can go back to business as normal. But for now, we need to ensure that we hold firm and keep the economy and the businesses and the business community growing.
Well, of course, this is an ongoing conversation. We'll have more on this in a later newscast. Reporting here from the Chamber of Commerce for the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lloyd Allen.
Oh, thanks to Lloyd. Well, there's a lot more to get to this Tuesday evening. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight. Stay with us.
Imagine a world where every brand knows your name and every store awaits your arrival. Elite shopping, travel where luxury is a lifestyle and every journey feels like home. Dine where every flavor is just for you, every table reserved, and every moment a taste of perfection. Make every big moment even bigger. Experience banking where wealth isn't just managed, it's maximized. Step into a world without limits. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
Big sandwich. I really like the honey mustard sauce. And then like the crispy bacon on it as well.
Oh, it's pepper jack cheese. I love the spice. I love the crunch.
I love the original sandwich, but just that simple addition of bacon was like over the top.
The chicken is really good.
I like it. I like it a lot.
I rate this a 10 out of 10. I'd eat this again.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Need a DNA test to find out if someone is your father, your child, or your grandparent? Call DNA Direct at 324-0665.
Get your kids ready for back to school with Melissa Sears. Save big on pants, shirts, skirts, blouses, jumpers, tunics, ties, belts, socks, and ribbons. Right now, you buy 4 school shirts, get the 5th one absolutely free. The #1 uniform store in the Bahamas, Melissa Sears Uniform Center. Visit them in the Marathon Mall and East Street South.
Well, months after Bahamians cast their ballots, questions are now turning to what could change before they do it again. Parliamentary Commissioner Harrison Thompson is responding to CARICOM's final election report, which calls for changes to the country's voter registration system, advanced polling, and even the body responsible for running elections. Lyle Maycock reports.
The May 12th election is over, but the review of how Bahamians vote is not. CARICOM's observer mission ultimately found the election peaceful and credible, but its final report also outlined concerns raised by stakeholders and recommended a series of reforms. Now, Parliamentary Commissioner Harrison Thompson says he welcomes the review.
I think the report is fair, and I think that the Bahamas can benefit from reacting to the report and responding to it in a positive way.
For voters, one of the most visible changes in the next general election cycle could be the biometric card they take to the polls. Commissioner Thompson assures the PRD is working to expand the biometric voter card system using fingerprint and facial recognition technology, something he believes could help address duplicate registrations, an issue highlighted in the CARICOM report.
On the biometric card, the law was passed in October last year, that all registrants now have to register for the biometric card. So hopefully in the next election, everybody will have to vote with the biometric card. It's still a decision by the government, the policymakers.
There could also be changes for the thousands who use the advanced poll. The parliamentary commissioner confirms roughly 27,000 to 28,000 people registered for this year's advanced poll. And after long lines at some locations, the department is considering whether fewer constituencies should share the same polling site. But perhaps the biggest potential change is who runs the system itself. CARICOM is recommending an independent election management body. And Thompson says this to the idea.
Well, I have no problem with an independent electoral body. I think it's a trend that is going throughout some of the Caribbean countries, and I think it will help for a little more efficiency.
Commissioner Thompson verified the PRD is also being reconstructed as officials look at staffing, earlier training exercises, and other changes before Bahamians head back to the polls in another 5 years. Reporting for the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lyle Maycock.
Off the crime beat tonight, police are investigating the sexual assault of a 17-year-old girl. Reports tell us that it was shortly after 7 Monday evening the victim's mother told police that her 17-year-old daughter was at her grandmother's house when the girl and her uncle got into an argument. The girl then left the house, and while walking in the area of Strawn's Alley and Kemp Road, she met a man she didn't know and asked him for a ride. The male agreed and took her to a residence where he sexually assaulted her. After the assault, the suspect then drove the teen to a friend's residence in the Pinewood Gardens area. The victim then returned to her home and told her mother about the alleged assault. The probe into this matter continues. Well, for survivors of sexual violence, the ordeal does not end necessarily when the alleged attacker walks away, as psychological scars can follow far beyond the traumatic incident. Tonight, taking a closer look at this for us is our Amaya Moss.
Sexual offense cases continue to impact communities across the Bahamas. Royal Bahamas Police Force statistics showed that 160 to 215 sexual offense cases are reported annually, including rape, attempted rape, and unlawful sexual intercourse. And several sexual offenses were reported by police this week alone. The most recent, a case involving a 17-year-old girl here in Nassau. These reports are forcing attention beyond the crime itself, but to the psychological wreckage survivors can be left carrying along after the encounter ends. Here's more from cognitive behavioral therapist Dr. Harrison Thompson.
If I was sexually violated by someone that I was familiar with, and this is what happened to me when I was quote-unquote safe, what more will other people do to me who don't care about me? And so what starts to happen is the anxiety creeps in. A person starts to become fear-oriented, catastrophizing, wondering about the worst-case scenarios instead of actually seeing reality for what it is.
And while much of the response to sexual violence takes place after an offense has already occurred, questions remain over what can be done to stop these incidents before another victim is added to the already troubling figures.
I think respectfully, the government is strained with a lot of things. And sometimes focus gets placed on what is most apparent in terms of issues that are very visible, issues that are very easy to point a finger at. And what tends to happen is we steal from Peter to pay Paul. When you have confessionals about people who are willfully engaging in these kind of heinous acts, justice needs to be swift. Power needs to be non-negotiable, and we need to regain trust in the public that we exist in a system that still cares about us.
Officials continue to strengthen their appeal to members of the public to contact a responsible person who may need help dealing with the aftermath of a sexual offense. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Amaya Moss.
The government is rolling out a new plan to get more Bahamian-grown food into stores, hotels, and restaurants, and cut the country's heavy reliance on imports. The first phase targets 5 everyday crops and millions of pounds of local produce. Our Lyle Maycock tells us more on exactly how this all works.
118,000 pounds every week. That's the new production target for 5 crops found in kitchens across the country: tomatoes, green cabbage, onion, cucumbers, and sweet peppers. It's part of the government's new national crop scheduling roadmap, a 5-year strategy being rolled out as the Bahamas continues to import nearly 90% of its food at an estimated cost of about $1 billion a year. Agriculture and Marine Resources Minister, the Honorable Jomo Campbell, explains.
This initiative is about building a more coordinated, resilient, and commercially sustainable agriculture sector, one that produces more, imports less, and feeds more Bahamians.
And there are numbers attached to that promise. The roadmap calls for 30,000 pounds of tomatoes a week, 35,000 each of cabbage and onions, 8,000 pounds of cucumbers, and 10,000 pounds of sweet peppers. That's more than 6 million pounds a year. BAIC Assistant General Manager John Burrows contends the difference is what happens before a seed even goes into the ground.
The crop schedule is a demand-based program, meaning that we've met with stakeholders to identify key crops that the stakeholders are interested in purchasing from farmers. It will bring stability to agriculture, to farmers. They are not only the produce that they produce, but the revenues as well. So gone are the days with a properly implemented crop schedule of wastage and gluts.
But growing it is only part of the equation. The food still has to survive the journey to market. BAIC General Manager Troy Sampson outlines a cold chain system that will use packing houses and refrigerated containers to keep produce at a stable temperature as it moves from Family Island farms to New Providence.
They'll be in reefer containers where they'll be at a stable temperature from the packing house to wherever it is we're delivering it in New Providence.
The rollout begins in Abaco Wednesday before expanding to other Family Islands. And officials say Bahamians should be able to taste the results by the first quarter of 2027. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lyle Maycock.
We are turning to sports next. This late night over the Bahamas, y'all, now with a preview of what's coming up.
The Baja Boys continue to impress over in the Dominican Republic. Details of that story and more coming up in sports.
As Bahamas Power and Light Company Limited advances the new energy era, the company remains committed to modernizing the grid while protecting the communities and environments it serves. BPL's Director of Energy Supply, Jeffrey Davis, explains what must be evaluated before a project moves forward.
Any project that we implement or are part of must incorporate the surrounding environment in a way that's not disruptive to it. An environmental impact assessment has to be conducted and approved. That includes an environmental response plan. So all the risks to the environment are identified and a mitigation plan has to be provided. Bahamas Power Light has a safety and environment division whose responsibility is to assess various impacts of any project or any operation that BPL is involved in.
Environmental scientist Dr. Neely Murphy explains some of the factors that should be considered when major energy infrastructure is being developed.
We definitely need to consider what is at that site. Is that site complete with pine trees, which are protected species? Are there wetlands? Are there birds that frequent the area? And so once we look at that site and we determine whether this activity can happen at the site, we have to ensure that there is some kind of balance and that once this site is completely disturbed, that the functions that this site would have carried out in the environment are replicated someplace else. And so for BPL and for energy, we look at the site as a whole and we determine how we could proceed with the specific site.
Through careful planning, assessment, and monitoring, BPL continues to work to balance the country's evolving energy needs while protecting the land that we call home.
Welcome to your Tuesday Sports Check, everyone. I'm Amajal Knowles. We start things off on the pitch as the Bahamas boys 14U soccer team over in Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic for the Caribbean Football Union's Challenge Series, and the Baja boys would put on a show taking on Montserrat. To the highlights, opening half, 7th minute, off the beautiful cross, Kai McIntosh would strike first blood for the 2-4-2 to go up 1-0. 16th minute, team captain Dirk Simmons with the fancy footwork here to find the back of the net with this powerful long-range strike to put the Bahamas up 2-0. 33rd minute, the Bahamas catching Montserrat sleeping on the counterattack, and Kai McIntosh yet again calmly finding the back of the net to put the 2-4-2 up 3-0, and that would be the lead at the half. 48th minute, Aiden Bannister would be the quickest person to react after the Montserrat goalkeeper would make the initial save to get this goal off the rebound to put the Bahamas up 4-0 to help the Baja boys cruise to the 5-0 win and improve to 2-0 so far in the tournament. Bahamas has a rest day today and are set to take on Guyana on Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. And after a highly touted collegiate career and being a mainstay on the Bahamian national basketball team, Dayton Albury now officially set to enter the pro ranks after putting pen to paper and inking his first professional contract. Swanson Gibson Jr. has that story.
Set to take over the Euro basketball scene is floor general Dayton Albury. The past few years, he made his mark in college ball, climbing the ranks and exceeding expectations at the JUCO and NCAA Division I levels. Albury signed with the Freiburg Olympic Basketball Club, looking to take the Swiss Basketball League by storm.
You know, my dream was to play in the NBA, but being blessed to continue my basketball career on a professional level is always a blessing. And obviously it's an adjustment, but I can't really get started. You know, I'm always open to learning and always open to getting better, and I'm ready to enjoy this process.
Albury discussing why he chose Switzerland after being scouted by numerous teams across Europe.
After speaking with my agent, he got me in connection with the director down there at Freiburg. And we had a good conversation, liked the way their program is run. They're a very willing program, very experienced program. Love their offense, love their defensive schemes. Caught a little bond with the coach, and, you know, they were willing to do anything to make sure I was comfortable.
The 24-year-old guard reflected on playing in the FIBA World Cup qualifiers this past July and the perspective gained.
Experience was crazy. Obviously, you know, when you're playing with such high-level guys like the DJs and the Buddies and Derek Gordons, you learn so much just from, you know, being around them every day, seeing their practice habits, seeing their habits on and off the court.
Albury now looking to apply his ball knowledge in Euro hoops as he and his new squad hit the ground running this fall. Reporting for ZNS Total Sports, I'm Swanson Gibson Jr.
Thanks, Swanson. In esports news, a major breakthrough for the Bahamas on a regional scale. Bahamas' NBA 2K 3-on-3 team finished first out of 7 countries in the global esports regional qualifiers. The team of Dwight Clark Jr., Jeremiah Cooper Jr., and Clint Newry would battle through 3 tiebreakers to defeat Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. With the win, it gives the Bahamas a strong result in its bid to advance through to the global esports games qualification process. As for the other teams and how they fared, eFootball finished 2-4. They would not move on. Clash Royale came 7th out of 12 countries and would not advance as well. MLB came 5th out of 8 countries, and they also would not advance. Bahamas Esports Federation adding that all teams saw significant improvement from the last set of qualifiers. And in tennis news, with the AID Clay Court Nationals recently wrapping up, we hear from the interim president of the Bahamas Lawn Tennis Association, Marvin Roll, who spoke about the possibility of a UTR Pro Tennis tournament that is in the works as well.
UTR it's great to have these tournaments here because, a lot of locals want to play these tournaments. They want to get up there, get their feet wet, you know, even if they want to try to go abroad, even for the juniors as well. You know, so we're planning to have one at the end of this month or at the beginning of September. So people can get out there, play, get their UTRs up. You know, like I said, it's important for the juniors to get their UTRs up for colleges, for boarding schools and stuff like that. So definitely looking forward to that and hosting a lot more of these type of UTR tournaments.
And that's been Look at Your Sports on this Tuesday. I'm Amajal Knowles, signing out until tomorrow.
1, 2, 3, what you gonna choose? Strawberry swirl, caramel too. Cookie dough bite, brownie protein. Oreo crunch, make the whole team scream. Gotta be frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Gotta be frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Swirl it, twist it, taste that wave. Gotta be frosty, gotta be Wendy's. Cinnamon toast on a cool vanilla. Chocolate base and the flavor gets bigger. Sweet on sweet, yeah, that's the fun. Better get one, better run, run, run. Gotta be frosty, gotta be Wendy's.
Behind every strong economy is a bold entrepreneur, and we're here to support them, island by island. On Cat Island, we've helped 17 entrepreneurs turn their dreams into thriving businesses. Through over $360,000 in approved funding, the SBDC is strengthening Cat Island's economy by investing in its leading sectors: agriculture, fuel, and fishing. No matter the island, every business we support strengthens the economy, starting with yours. SBDC Bahamas.
And it is time now for a late look at our weather forecast. For that, we say good evening to Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good evening, Basil.
Good evening, Carville. Taking a look at our satellite picture, we have a low-level trophy near the northwest Bahamas, and that's firing up some showers and thunderstorms in the vicinity of Abaco and East End, Grand Bahama. And then in the tropics, we're looking at this tropical wave near the northern Leeward Islands. It is producing some showers and thunderstorms moving towards the west, and that could move into our area later in the week, particularly in the southeast Bahamas, where it will increase the chance of shower activity. And our temperatures around the islands this evening: Marshall, Abaco, Green Tool, Key at 86. A very hot 93 degrees in Freeport, Grand Bahama. They had a heat index of 105 degrees today, by the way. And Berry Islands, 91 degrees. Allenstown, Bimini at 85. 90 degrees in Harbor Island, Roxanne, Eleuthera 87, Otterstown, Kid Island at 88, Black Point, Exuma 87, Camp Space, South Andros 87 as well, Fresh Creek, Central Andros at 86 degrees, in Georgetown, Exuma 86 as well, Room Key at 88 degrees, San Salvador have a temperature of 88 degrees. Earlier today, they had a heat index of 100 degrees as well. And as we take you further south, Ragged Island, Clarence Town, Long Island, Crooked Island, Betsy Bay, Magona, Acklands, and the Turks and Caicos Islands, all at 87 degrees, with Matthew Tiny, Nagua, 83 degrees. And your forecast tonight: clear, partly cloudy, but very warm. The low temperature tonight, 84 degrees, well above average for this time of the year. Tomorrow, we're looking at mostly cloudy with a thunderstorm in spots, particularly in the afternoon as a result of that low-level trophy. Now, the high temperature tomorrow is going to get up to 92 degrees, and you can expect a heat index of 103 degrees. And your extended weather forecast: heavier showers in the afternoon tomorrow. They become a little bit more isolated on Thursday and Friday. Lots of sunshine on Saturday, but we'll have a couple more showers working its way back in the forecast on Sunday and Monday of next week. But by Tuesday, sunny and hazy conditions will return, and those daytime temperatures, you just can't get over these 90 degrees. They're going to be right there in the low to mid-90s during the daytime, and so that will be giving you some heat indexes anywhere between 100 and 105 degrees. So as we've always been telling you, keep yourself hydrated by drinking lots of water, stay in the shade as often as you can.
And thank you, Basil, and we thank you for being with us this late night. That is our broadcast here this Tuesday evening. I'm Corval Pye for Ammo, Basil, and our entire team. You take care, be well, and remember, we will all be looking to see you again right back here tomorrow evening. Good night.